Are you confused about how to declare a stateless functional component in React using TypeScript? You're not alone. Many developers find themselves in this situation, and today we're going to clarify it for you. I totally get it. With so many ways to write components in React, it can be overwhelming. You might be wondering which method is the best to use. Trust me, you're in the right place to find out. Let's dive into the specific question at hand. One user asked about the two common ways to declare a stateless functional component in React with TypeScript. They provided two examples, and they want to know if there are any differences and which one is preferred. So what are these two methods? The first method is a simple function that takes props as an argument. The second method explicitly types the component as a React stateless component. Both achieve the same result, but there are nuances to consider. And stick around. At the end of this video, I'll share a tip that can help you decide which method to use based on your project needs. To declare a stateless functional component in React with TypeScript, the user can start by defining an interface for the component's props. This interface will specify the types of the props that the component will receive. Next, the user can create the functional component itself. In the first method, the user can simply declare the component as a function that takes props of the defined interface. Alternatively, in the second method, the user can explicitly type the component as a React stateless component. This approach provides additional clarity about the component type. Both methods achieve the same result, but the second method allows the user to omit children from the props interface if they are not used in the component. This can help keep the code cleaner. In conclusion, while both methods are valid, the user may prefer the second method for its explicitness and flexibility regarding props. Choosing the right method depends on the specific needs of the component. One key difference is that with the second method, you can omit children from your interface if you are not using them in your component. This can help keep your code cleaner. Fun fact, the term stateless doesn't mean the component can't have state. It just means that the component itself doesn't manage any state. It's all about how you structure your code. Now let's look at the answers provided by other users. An alternative approach to declaring a stateless functional component in React with TypeScript is to use the react.statelessComponent type. This method allows you to define your component with props and automatically includes children in the props type. The user explains that if you prefer the first method, you can still achieve similar functionality by explicitly adding children to your props interface. This way, both approaches can yield comparable results. That's the end of that answer. Let's see another perspective. This user suggests a different approach for declaring a stateless functional component in TypeScript. They recommend using the syntax that specifies the return type directly, like this: const component equals props of type props, returning jsx.element. They explain that by declaring the return type as jsx.element, developers don't need to understand the stateless component interface, making the code easier to read. Now let's shift our focus to a different response. An alternative approach suggests using React's stateless functional component, or SFC, for declaring your component. This method allows you to define props more effectively, including children, which the first method does not accommodate. However, with the introduction of React hooks, the preferred way now is to use React's function component. That's it for that response. Let's explore another one. An alternative approach suggests avoiding the use of React stateless component and React function component, as both are deprecated. Instead, you can declare your component simply by defining the props interface and using destructuring in the function parameters. The reasoning behind this recommendation is that using React FC can introduce issues, such as automatically accepting a children prop, lack of support for generics, and complications with default props. Omitting it simplifies the component declaration. So, which method should you choose? If you prefer simplicity and readability, go with the first method. If you want explicit type checking and clarity, the second method is your friend. And there you have it. Now you know how to declare a stateless functional component in React with TypeScript. Remember, choose the method that best fits your project needs. If you found this video helpful, please subscribe for more tips and tricks.